Hello everybody, welcome to the Fabulous Picture Show. Could I please introduce the wonderful Najwa Najjar for this special screening of Pomegranates Myrrh. We've been following your career for many years now, Najwa, so it's a huge pleasure to have you here. Tell us about your film.
I'm so happy to be here and to present Pomegranates Myrrh. According to ancient Arab proverbs, there is in every pomegranate that one seed that comes from heaven. So pomegranates for all the sweetness in life, and myrrh, or in Arabic it's murr, which is bitterness, for all the bitterness. And that one seed from heaven, it's hope. So I hope you enjoy this.
Thank you so much.
6 years in the making, Pomegranates Myrrh is a truly Palestinian feature film.
We wanted to be Palestinian producers in the film. So we went to institutions in Palestine, and initially that was a little bit difficult because there are so many incredibly demanding needs that come in living in such a difficult situation. When you come and you say you want to do a film, in many ways it's considered a luxury. But we insisted that this is culture and it needs to be supported.
Najwa wanted an all-Palestinian cast. She found her leading lady in Yasmin Al-Masri, a rising star who found fame in the Lebanese hit Caramel. Here Al-Masri plays Kamar, the bride of landowner Zaid, played by newcomer Ashraf Farah. Their marital bliss is soon shattered by Israeli soldiers who come to confiscate Zaid's land and then arrest him. Ali Suleiman, famous for his role in the Oscar-nominated Paradise Now, plays Kais, a dance teacher who provides distraction for Kamar when Zaid is locked up. The 30-day shoot across 42 locations with 40-odd crew negotiating the territory's 650 checkpoints all adds up to a first feature that's a triumph over the many obstacles to filming in an occupied territory. But it's not an overtly political story.
You take all of this and you make a movie made in Palestine, a Palestinian story that talks about people. I don't have to show you the Intifada. I do it in another way.
We first met Najwa 3 years ago when she brought her short film, Yasmin's Song, to the Berlin Film Festival.
Yasmin! Berlin was very, very important for me because they had a wall, and the wall was removed.
We followed her to Ramallah and another wall.
The occupation affects filmmaking in the way that you're always subject to make films about the occupation.
And then to Cannes, where she sought funding for Pomegranates Myrrh, which would become her first feature.
Mon film?
Ah, votre film, l'année prochaine?
J'espère.
Then to auditions in London. And to the world premiere of Pomegranates Myrrh at the Dubai Film Festival.
Here we are in this huge theater, and the actors are seeing it for the first time, and everybody was waiting, and the emotions were so high. And then the movie ends.
Beautiful, beautiful.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people. Everybody's coming up to you, and it's a bit overwhelming.
And finally to Ramallah in the West Bank, where Najwa hosted a special screening for local residents.
أنا متفكرة كثير لأنه عم نستنى هاللحظة كثير فترة طويلة.
والله يا زيد يا عم أنا قلقان السنة هاي، الأوضاع السياسية مش كثير نافعة. وأنا خايف لا سمح الله يحدث أشياء مش متوقعينها.
As you know, we rarely see Palestinian families portrayed in this light, but we rarely see Palestinian Christian families who are a minority, certainly in Palestine, aren't they? Which really, for me, is an incredibly strong message that this conflict is not about Muslim versus Jew, is it?
It's not a conflict between religions. It is a conflict about land. they happen to be Christian because the society happens to be made up of both, regardless of the percentages at the moment. And it was very important for me, more so, that this is a national conflict. You know, it's a conflict about land, regardless of religion.
I love the scene where Kama actually goes back to that land and she touches the olive tree, so she gets that smell, so that when she goes back to her husband in prison, she asks him to smell her hand, and that was so moving for me.
Ahmed. Shem.
Palestinians losing their land, it's not just, it's a loss of land. It's when you lose your land, you lose your livelihood. You lose your identity. There's no reason why people should lose their homes. And you need to live with dignity. I mean, simply, it's not just living, it's living with dignity, and you can only do that on your land.
زيد شوف حالك كيف صرت جلدة على عظمة. فكر فينا، فكر بالأرض اللي ضلت.
بصراحة الموضوع عايشة.
And who did you talk to help you recreate those scenes?
These were some of the toughest interviews. There was one who was in administrative detention. He was the longest person held in it. His name is Ahmed Qatamish. One of the questions was, what is it that you're waiting for when your wife comes to visit you? And he says, I dream about that second when our fingers touch at the fence. Oh. And it was so emotional for me. This is what they dream about. I mean, it wasn't the walls that bothered them. It was not being denied this touch. And it's just giving him something to survive in when he's in prison. You know, giving that sense of smell, of hear, of touch. So, yeah.
Which is also linked to the fact that he is willing to forfeit his freedom to secure his land. He doesn't want to get out of jail if it means losing his land.
No, he won't do it.
المحامي رح يستأنف الحكم الإداري الأسبوع الجاي.
بتقولي له للمحامي بقول لك زيد بس يهتم بقضية المصادرة ما يضيعش وقته.
Ashraf.
Ashraf, yes, Ashraf Farah.
What a star.
You broke a few hearts, huh?
He broke a few hearts in here today, didn't he, ladies?
بوعدك راح أعوضك على كل شيء.
أوقات بحس حالي رح أنجن.
وأنا كمان.
So let's talk briefly about the Palestinian cast. Two of those faces I'd seen before.
Yes.
Obviously, Yasmin, who plays Kamar, and obviously we've seen Kais as well. I'm in Paradise Now. But we hadn't seen Ashraf before, and he's a real special find, isn't he?
بس اليوم آخر يوم بالمعصرة. بدي تكوني حدي.
ولا يهمك. رح أكون موجودة.
Yasmin is a Palestinian. She was born in Lebanon, and she lives in Paris. And it was Yasmin's first time entering the country. And Ashraf Farah had only done theater. All these actors are all professional actors and all very, very well known in the country. And so he's the only one who hasn't appeared on. And so everybody was like, are you sure? It's like, yes, yes, I'm sure. Look at him.
وين كنتي؟
طلعت من التدريب والبلد كانت فاضية ما كان في لا فورد ولا تاكسي. بعرفش إيش فيه.
أنا قلت لك قديش هذا اليوم مهم لإلي.
The scene with Habib. For me, that's one of my favorite scenes.
لساتكم هون؟ شو بعدكم قاعدين تساووا؟
And the tension is probably one of the strongest points in the film. Am I overstating that? Did you feel that?
زيح بارودتك. سيبني ما. زيح بارودتك قلت لك بتخوفنيش. رجال مفكرين حالكم حاملين بواريد؟ سيبني ما جبرت. ما تحكيش معي بالعبراني، احكي بالعربي. هون انت برام الله مش بتل أبيب.
She is just full of the sort of guts that we all want to have in every facet of life.
She's got the spirits and the guts of, you know, the Palestine that I know.
How often does that kind of stoush exist? How many Habibs do you get yelling at soldiers like that?
We do have a gun up against our head. I mean, it is. But you do find people who sit there and, you know, you see young boys who come up and they push up their chest against, and women who yell, and people who... It is there. It's not like it doesn't exist.
شو بتسوي هون؟
شو بسوي هون؟ هاي حبيب كفي. No war. فهمت؟
Now they have orders shoot to kill. So when it's shoot to kill, it becomes a little bit less... but that doesn't mean that everybody's not thinking it. That not everybody doesn't feel it inside. It doesn't mean that the society has become pacified.
حلوا عني قطعتوا رزقي، خلي الواحد يعرف يشتغل.
لما تسكت.
اسكت قلت لك احكي عربي.
I visited the West Bank a couple of times last year. I felt you caught very well the way people walk constantly day by day, that knife edge between resistance and dignity and survival. I think it's a really important film, and I think it's a very much an unreported story.
When you read some of the reviews of Najwa's films, and they're always divided, and you expect that. You'd expect that with every film reviewer, but they really even talked about the political stuff. They talked about why didn't Najwa illustrate the love triangle more. Even that in itself, you have a responsibility to your region to not tell us everything about the love triangle.
إذا أنت بتفكري إنه التزامك بيزيد عشانه كان محبوس، أنت بتكوني غلطانة. لازم تعيشي حياتك. أنا عايشة مرة واحدة.
أنا مش ملتزمة بزيد.
In Ramallah, this made a huge controversy because some of the people who watched it there saw it in a much different light. And I was on stage and I thought, that's how you see it. You know, if maybe that's not what I intended or what she thinks or what he thinks. Maybe this is not, but because it is ambiguous and I don't want to spoon feed. Everybody in the world has been spoon fed enough. What do you think?
إيش أنا بالنسبة لك؟
You said in the introduction that you wanted to give people a sense of hope with this Pomegranates. But now, this year, when we've had a war, you know, on Gaza, where's the hope?
I mean, it's precisely because of this war in Gaza and because of the situation we live that I thought that to make such a movie would be important. I mean, Gaza's kind of a difficult now situation because it was completely devastated. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I don't know where people now have the energy to survive, to get up, to resist. And as long as people are willing to continue life, then you know that the struggle won't end. The worst thing is to give up. So maybe the hope is that continuation.
Let's thank, please, Najwa Najjar for bringing her film Pomegranates Myrrh.
انت متأكد؟
ولا ما فوز.
3 أشهر وال3 أشهر خلصوا.
سموه باسمه.
حاجز قول لي حجز إداري اسمه حبس.
Well, that's it for this Fabulous Pictures show. And Najwa, you know what they forgot to mention? Your Scorsese moment, the cameo. Yes. That was you, right?
That was me.
Dancing at the wedding.
That was a lot of fun.
You thought you got off lightly, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I thought nobody would notice it.
But we're going to show it, just in case you missed it as well. Join us next time on the Fabulous Picture Show. See you then.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this film and why?
I think I'd give it between an 8 and a 9 because I cannot remember the last time my heart was beating so fast.
I think what the film did portray very well was the mettle of the Palestinian people.
It's not about suicide bombing, it's not about chanting names of God.
It's freedom and hope, actually, how to have a hope that there is something that can be done.